White people have never been victims. We've never been persecuted, othered, villainized, or hunted down and killed for our skin color. We've never been marginalized. We've never been separated from the rest of society and treated as subhuman. We have never had to petition to change our status to full human being instead of partial because of our skin color. We have never had to have civil rights movements just so the government and our fellow humans could legally recognize us as people. I think for a lot of white people, it's a lot easier to deny our past and our present and label ourselves as different this time rather than accept that we really are the villains in everyone else's stories. We represent the absolute worst sides of humanity. Throughout our short history in this land, we have constantly tried to exterminate people based on skin color and background. It's a fact. This land belonged to hundreds of different groups of people before any of our ancestors stepped unwelcome foot here. Hopefully they're still teaching it in schools, but our white colonizer ancestors ravaged these lands and their people. Manifest Destiny was a religious psychosis episode, in my opinion, that was basically like, well, we're all white, these people aren't, so that means we deserve this land. Blonde-haired, blue-eyed Jesus told us so we gotta exterminate these folks. And they just about did. Imprisonment, torture, murder, delivering plights in the form of smallpox-covered blankets, false entitlement, and an unchecked superiority complex. White colonizers plagued these lands and almost completely destroyed all of the people who were happily living and thriving. For whatever reason, a lot of white people believe that the native folks were unsophisticated, dumb, and not self-sufficient. When in reality, a lot of those tribes were very advanced in their hunting techniques, clothing and item weaving, wasting nothing, using every single piece of an animal that they killed, engaging in gratefulness to the universe or gods through rituals. They had high-ranking officials and powerful positions. They were intelligent. They didn't need anyone to step in and help them. It's insulting to assume because they look different than us, speak differently than us, and live their lives differently from us, that we need to correct them. That they deserve to be massacred and the survivors be sent to internment camps called reservations. And on top of all that, and even more that I haven't even dug into, we had the fucking nerve to call these people to their faces Indians. What? This isn't India. Dumbass Christopher Columbo over here clearly can't read a goddamn map. All because they had dark skin. That is so ignorant and so typical of white people. And Lincoln didn't free the slaves because he felt it was morally right and he believed black people were people too. No! He did it because politically it was a good strategy, okay? And the freed, I'm not even gonna, freed, put that in heavy, heavy quotes, slaves were promised land and donkeys. And what do they get? Nothing!
40 acres and a mule.
My ass. So sure, it became illegal to own slaves, but these folks were not allowed to get an education. They didn't have any money because they weren't allowed to have money. They weren't allowed into white spaces, so they couldn't get a job. So it's pretty easy to see how you would have no other opportunity in life. So people were stuck. People were completely stuck. Nothing changed. It's still slavery. It didn't end with Abe Lincoln. There's still slaves today. That's a whole other topic for a whole other video, though. You know, if you were told that you were free now, but you're not given the same equal basic rights, you're not seen as a person, you have no money, no way to earn it, nobody will let you into their establishments, what are you to do? Build and create your own community where you aren't seen as second-class citizens. But they flourish too much for the whites, and we burn their cities and communities to the ground. See Tulsa, 1921. It wasn't a race riot. It was a fucking massacre. Starting in 1932, the United States experimented on over 600 unknowing black men for over 40 years. They administered syphilis and studied its effects on the human body. Over 100 men died because of this. It affected their wives. Their children, babies, were born having the disease. The concept of, first of all, preying on black men, they all came from poor backgrounds, by the way, because fuck poor people too, right? Specifically, because you see them as less than human, is despicable. Back then, and to this day, people and nurses and doctors and medical staff alike genuinely believe that black people do not feel pain the same way that we do as white people. A lot of white people believe, on no scientific basis, that black people do not feel pain like white people, that they are less intelligent than white people as a whole, and that they are subhuman on all levels. And we, whiteys, are the superior race. Like that even fucking matters, by the way. Also, if you want to get scientific, whiteness is kind of a genetic mutation. Because the first humans had dark skin. But I don't know if we're ready for that conversation. My mother was born in the 60s, and she remembers very clearly being told she wasn't allowed to play with another little girl because that little girl was black. My mom remembers her own mother and all her friends all using the N-word. She remembers the only black kid in her school being singled out in class and humiliated just for being black. The teacher asking him to tell the class what the jungle was like, telling him he should go back. Every instance, my mom said she would feel sick inside. She knew it wasn't right. As a child, under 10, my own mother knew to engage in racism was not an option for her. She would not end up like everyone around her. And when her kids were grown up enough, she moved us far away. She told us the ugly, harsh truths about people with our skin color and what our ancestors did throughout history. And she told us that we had a choice to make in life. We could fall back in line with what our ancestors did and create more hate, or we could choose to be educated, empathetic, and use our privilege for the greater good. And white privilege can be used for good, especially now, with the Gestapo terrorizing our neighbors. We whites should be at the front lines, forming human barricades, not allowing the Nazis to kidnap our neighbors and send them to concentration camps. We should be using our status and security in this country to protect those who are most vulnerable. We have to do something. Most of the time when a revolution starts, it's not a white person who is throwing the first brick. It's usually a woman of color. I heard anyone outright say it, but I get the vibe that a lot of other white people truly believe that since the civil rights movement, all people of color are treated the same way as whites. There's a lot of people who say, I don't see color, which, yikes. You absolutely should see it. You need to see the way people are treated differently based on their appearance. If you remain blind to the struggle of those who you insist are equal to you, you are contributing to their oppression. You need to understand that people are targeted just for looking a certain way. And just because you're one of those, well, that's not how I was raised, well, that's how it works here. Yeah, people are still affected by racism and inequality. And just because you position yourself above everyone by saying that you don't see color, doesn't mean that you aren't also complicit for having that mindset. You aren't better than anybody just because you hate everybody equally. Shut up. Equity and equality are not the same thing. And a lot of white people perpetuate that incorrect belief that they are. Equality would be, let's say there's 5 people, 3 of them are under 6 feet tall, all lined up in front of a 6-foot tall fence. 2 of the people are well over 6 feet, so they can see above the fence. The fence is the same height for everyone, all the way down, but only 2 can see. Equity would be everyone lined back up at the same fence, but everyone under 6 feet gets a box to stand on that's adjusted perfectly for their height, so all 5 people can see above the fence. Everybody sees the same thing. Everyone is now on a level playing field because they had the adequate tools to prop themselves up to be able to see past the fence. They had resources to build a box perfect for their needs, for their height, to see beyond the fence. Equity is a necessity in society. We are not all dealt the same privileges, but we all deserve to be able to see past that fence. And if you refuse to see that, we can never make changes for the better. A lot of white people have very fragile egos around being white. A lot of white people get mad when we become the butt of the joke. The sooner white people get over our perpetual false victim complex, the sooner we can start making change. A lot of white people also believe that it's possible for non-white people to be racist towards white people. And that's just not true, bestie. Refer back to the beginning of the video. We've never been a minority. We have never been victims in any capacity in this country. Therefore, we cannot be victims of racism ourselves, okay? So if you want to get mad about whiteface or white people be like, watch the video from the top until you get it. And listen, we are bland for the most part, okay? We're known for not dancing on beat, having no rhythm, raisins in the potato salad, bad vibes, bland food, no upper lip, no style, thin, shitty, hair. And for a lot of us, that is true. And that's okay. We're not better than anyone else. We're not some kind of master race. We're just people. Unseasoned people. But listen, I'm from the South, so I season my food.